podcast. I'm Darbi.
I am Kaitlin. Today we have on our friend, Mike Green.
Yes.
Hi, Mike.
Love Mike.
We do love Mike. Oh, Mike is such a...
I love you back.
That's good. We love you too. We go to church with Mike and his wife, Martha.
Yes.
Mike and Martha Green. If you know them, you love them.
Absolutely.
You've been hugged by them and loved on by them. Mike is such a sweet soul.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So sweet. Always kind. Always loving. Always up for a hug.
Funny. He's funny.
He is funny. You just never know what's going to come from Mike. But we wanted to have Mike on here just to share about his life. He's got a lot of good things to share, a lot of testimony of the Lord. So let's just start from the very beginning, Mike. Tell us about maybe about growing up, about coming to know Jesus. What did that look like?
Okay. I was raised in a big family. There were 11 kids in my family.
Wow.
Yeah. Richard, Margaret, Tommy, Mary, Mike, Cece, Barbie, Bobby, Nita, Joni, Jim.
Oh my God.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. What number are you?
I'm about the fifth one down. I can't keep up.
Wow.
But
I can't keep up.
No need to.
I can't keep up. It's hard to remember all the birthdays, but I can remember all their names.
Yeah.
And I'm the fifth one down. I'm the fifth one down. So there's 4 older than me and 6 younger than me.
Okay.
And my mother was actually pregnant 15 times, so she lost 4.
Wow.
We were Catholic, so
Okay.
we were raised Catholic.
Okay.
And so as far as my upbringing, it was... I look back on it. Sometimes I think we look back on things and we learn a lot.
Yeah.
But I look back on it, and the Catholic religion is great. I don't have anything against
Yes.
it. But I wasn't really taught. We were kind of taught that you don't sin. And if you sin, he's up there going, you better. So we were almost scared of God in a way.
Yeah.
So it was much later that I realized that I didn't need to be scared of God. In fact, He loves me, and He forgives me of my sins, and I don't have to tell it to another person necessarily like we did in the
That's
Catholic.
so important.
Right. Yeah.
And so we grew up in a little small town on a farm, and we had a great life. And my mother was oldest of 13, my dad was oldest of 6, so I have about 80-something first cousins.
That is crazy.
Because they were all big families.
Wow.
Yeah.
There were a whole bunch of us. And so went to Texas A&M after I got out of high school. Khakis. And then I went straight to the corporate world. And I was in the corporate world for about 32 years.
Wow.
And I would say that in the corporate world, it was kind of a cutthroat type
it is.
environment.
Yeah.
Can
And
be.
so I didn't, I would say about my growth and my walk with Christ is that He was knocking at the door a lot, and I wasn't answering. Revelation 3:20 says, "I stand at the door and knock. Anyone who opens, I will sup with you or dine with you." I was too busy for that.
Yeah.
My whole life was, at the time I was living for the next everything.
Yeah.
The next pay raise, the next,
Yep.
I had kids, I was living their lives. And every time he knocked, which was pretty often probably, I was too busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, all that kind of changed. I worked for a corporation for 32 years. And I got to a point where I said, I can't do it by myself anymore. And my wife had been praying for me for a long time. So, because Martha had been a Christian for a long time. And so when I realized I couldn't do it anymore by myself, then my whole life changed. And I became a different person. I got a new heart immediately, of course. And I became a different person in that, one day Martha and I were talking, and she said, "You notice we don't cuss much anymore?" Because,
Yeah.
growing up Catholic, I didn't use God's name in vain. But
Sure.
I throw out words I shouldn't say.
Yeah.
And I said, I do notice that.
Wow.
And so as we went through our Christian life, we kind of started realizing that we, after we retired from the corporation, we moved out to the lake, to Possum Kingdom Lake, and we started a business, and it just exploded. I was mowing yards, she was cleaning houses. We were just going crazy.
Yeah.
On 4th of July, we couldn't hardly see straight. We were so busy.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to hire people. We wanted to do it ourselves. And so one day we would do church at home because it was a beautiful place. Y'all have been there. And
Yes.
we'd sit at the lake and just do church at home. And one day we started talking about, we thought, what's going to be our legacy? You know, because there were some people mainly men that were passing away at the lake. And we just started thinking, if I died tomorrow, what would people say about me? And I thought, I don't know that they'd have a whole lot of good to say about me. So we thought, we need to find a church, you know. So we went to the Cowboy Church. We did this or that. And went to Cross Timbers. And your dad brought me out a banana nut cake. It was kind of a funny story because we were on vacation. And this lady was taking care of our dog. And she said, this really good-looking man walked up. And I said, oh, that was Lane Kramer. Anyway, he's one of my heroes. But so we started going to Cross Timbers a little bit, and we were just kind of fumbling around with our Christianity. Yeah. But I had become a Christian at age 55. That's when I said, okay. And it's about the same time I retired from the corporate world. Yeah. And we moved out, and it's not like I got better overnight. Yeah. I didn't.
No.
My heart changed, and I was a different person. But I still made plenty of mistakes. Yeah. I don't think anybody should ever think that when you accept God, you're all of a sudden a saint. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. That's right.
And so we kept going through life. And when we found High Ridge is when things really started changing for me, because I just met so many men at High Ridge that today, even back then, but mainly they would do anything for me. I called your husband 2 days ago, and he's like, oh, yeah, tell me what you need and where you need it. Yeah. I mean, people will do anything for you at this church. Yeah. And so I guess my Christianity or my walk with God has just grown ever since I was 55 years old. But it took me a long time. Most people don't say, I got saved at 55.
That's
they get
so
saved
true.
as a kid or something. And like I said, I had plenty of opportunities. I was always in church my whole life. And I went to a Methodist church for about 20 years. I mean, but when we found High Ridge, when Martha and I found High Ridge, it changed our lives. So it's been a really good experience.
Wow, I feel like I have so many thoughts. I would just love for you to talk just a little bit more in depth about leaving that job that you did for 32 years that you knew like the back of your hand. Talk about how you knew it was time to go and the shift that happened in your life, because you said when you left, that's kind of when everything changed with your faith in God, like it became personal. So can you just talk about why you were ready to be done with that, what you thought you were missing, why you decided to make that shift?
Yeah. It was a long career, and I had many, many, many jobs, because when I got out of college, they hired me straight into management. And I had people working for me that had more years service than I was old. And they looked at me and said, what do you know? Yeah. And I said, I don't know anything. And so I went through many, many, many jobs. And when I finished, I worked at AT&T, and when I finished at the end of 32 years, I was running the whole state of Texas for CPE, customer premises equipment. I had about 200 people working for me. We did all the telecommunications at the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. We put all the Wi-Fi in Starbucks. We did. By the time I got there, we were doing that kind of thing. And it was a huge organization, and I was doing well, but I just got to a point where something happened at AT&T, and I wasn't happy about it. And I thought, and it was just a crossroads. And it was a really hard thing for me to do because I was making a lot of money, and Martha was still working there. So it was a hard thing for me to do, but I just decided I'm just going to let go of this and turn to God and go do something different. And so when we came out to the lake and started running that business, our life just changed a lot. Yeah. And so
Did you have a plan when you left?
No. We had no plan.
Because that's pretty wild. You're at a time in your life where you've been established at a place, and you're like, I'm just done. I don't know what's next, but I'm leaving.
Yeah, we just made up some cards for business cards, and I started putting them on gates. Wow. And my very first guy who hired me said, I'll pay you $15 an hour cash. And I said, woohoo.
I think it's funny how sometimes in life the problems you encounter can become the promotion that you're seeking, because it was such a promotion in just your influence. I feel like it was just God kind of stepping in and going, all the skills that you've learned in the corporate world, all of the ability and gifts that you have to manage people. Mike, I want to move you out here and use these gifts out here and to do this thing. And it's so cool to see how even when maybe you didn't see that about yourself, but God saw that and said, man, Mike, I can use you out here. And so what looked like that problem, because I think we've all had that problem that we encounter where we're like, it's a crossroads moment, and you get to decide that path. Yeah. But it can lead to greater.
And I was one of those type of people, like I said, I wasn't a Christian. And maybe this will help somebody, but I would look at the Bible and go, okay, I know there's a higher power. I know somebody created this. I was one of those people. And I know that most of that Bible is true, but I don't think a man can live inside of a fish for 3 days. There were things that I questioned in the Bible. Yeah. And when I became a Christian and I decided I'm going to live for Jesus, my whole attitude about the Bible changed. I thought, I'm going to believe everything in here. And then a little while later, I heard a pastor, we listened to a lot of pastors. Yeah. I heard a pastor say, no, a man can't live in a fish for 3 days scientifically. Yeah. So many young people say, well, scientifically, I don't think that can happen. Yeah. Well, scientifically, it can't. Yeah. Scientifically, a virgin can't have a baby. Yeah. But God. But God,
that's right.
God does miracles, and I think He did them then, and I think He does them now. Yeah. It's a miracle that I'm a Christian. I look at it that way.
Oh, Wow. So tell me a little bit now about the legacy. You said you guys were having a moment where you were wondering what would be your legacy. Yeah. What did you end up deciding you wanted your legacy to be, and where are you at in that process?
And why did you care to even think about my legacy? Because I think for so many people, we're just living for now. I don't really care about the future. I don't care about what people think of me when I'm gone. Like, I'm caring about now. So why were you caring about, okay, well, we're not here anymore. What are people going to think about me?
Well, I think when I thought that, I thought that it was probably selfishness and pride.
Oh yeah.
I thought, I want people to think highly of me. Yeah. I want them to say something good at my funeral. Yeah. And so at the time, sure, I might have been thinking that way, but the more I go through life and the more I learn about Christ and the more I read the Bible, the more I realize that that it's not about what gets put on my tombstone, and it's not really even about what people say about me when I die. Yeah, that's not good. That. Yeah. It's how I live for God and how I live for Christ. Yeah. So as far as what I want my legacy to be, I think we started coming to Highbridge and we met a lot of good Christian people. Yeah. And all of our friends ended up, we had a lot of friends at the lake, but when we started meeting people in Graham, and we started getting a lot of friends that were Christians. And one day Martha said, I want to go deeper. I want to see what it's like to work with other people who aren't necessarily God-like Christians. And so we started diving deeper into, I started doing prison ministry in Jacksboro, and from that we heard about the House of Mercy. At the time, Pastor Zach was here, and he said, why don't y'all go check out the House of Mercy? So we went over there, and we said, what do y'all need? They said, well, you can fix up a room for us. We're trying to remodel rooms. They were brand new. And so we fixed up a room and got to know some of the people there, and we finished with the room. We said, what else do y'all need? We like dealing with people. So if you don't understand the House of Mercy, it's people who come in there and they're kind of at their wits' end. They're at the end of their rope, and they help them get through life. And it's a very Christian place that helps people. Yeah. And they can go through a year-long program and graduate and all that.
That's great.
And so we started volunteering there on Wednesday because they said, well, we need somebody to come in and on Wednesday at 4:00. And it's just, so I don't know that I need that to be my legacy, but I just want people to look back on my life and say he did something good for people. Yeah. And so that's kind of how I would answer that.
Well, you're doing it.
Yeah,
I mean, I
you're doing
can't
it.
think of a couple that is more evangelistic than you and Martha.
Yes.
I mean, your love for people is, it just oozes out of you and
Yeah.
it multiplies and it's incredible. I mean, I think you guys are real life disciples, apostles. You just,
Thank you.
it's a beautiful legacy.
Thank you. I'm kind of an extrovert, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
I haven't really met any strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really do love people.
Yes.
I don't know that I have any enemies. If I do, I wish I would tell me about it. But no, I just don't. There's nobody I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can walk up to somebody at Walmart and tell them a knock-knock joke and not even know who they are. But I'm just.
That's true. That's real life.
And I really want people to take me seriously, but I love to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And I love to help people. So
Yeah.
when guys turn to me and say, hey, I need help, I'm like, I'm here.
Yeah, you
Yes.
do.
What do you need?
Yes.
And I think that's important for all of us.
Yeah.
It's not about me. I think we should all do that. That's what
Yeah.
God wants us to do. And to keep an attitude like that is, for me, it doesn't seem that difficult. I just
Yeah.
don't go through many down times. Sometimes late at night, if I get tired, I think if I go to bed, I'll wake up in a better mood, and it works pretty well. I ask God to help me get through this. And
It's like the equivalent of telling your phone, like, turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah.
I think that's for humans.
Yeah.
Like, go to bed,
Go
wake
sleep.
up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be better tomorrow.
and it usually works pretty well,
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah, I think, when I think about, you and Martha, I feel like you just have such a care for people because you think of them in the eternal perspective
Yes.
and with God eyes. Like, I just feel like you're always looking at people, not in a surface level way, but, just in a deep, loving way. That's why
Yeah.
I feel like you truly are, Mike, one of the sweetest people that I know. I know that you care about me and my family. You care about the church, like you care about the strangers on the street,
Yes.
and some people can say, I know that this person loves me. They may not tell me or show me, but I know they do. And the cool thing is with you and Martha, it's like there's no question because you do show, you do give that love out, and it's so good, and it's such a reflection of the Lord. So your presence means so much to people.
I like to try to tell people that there's too much shame and if you look backwards at your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to look backwards at what I did. One of my favorite sayings is, there's a reason that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. Look forward,
That's
not
good.
backwards.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very good.
And so I try to encourage people, don't look at everything that's happened in the past.
Yeah.
You've been forgiven of that.
Yeah.
Look forward at what's going to happen in your
Yeah,
future.
that's right.
And so that's how I like to encourage people. And there's a lot of gifts that God gives us.
Yeah.
Mine would be encouragement, probably, and
Yeah,
service.
for sure.
Yeah.
Serving and encouragement. And I'm learning more and more that as time goes on, there's other gifts that He gives us that we
That's
don't even
right.
realize we have.
Yeah.
So, Mike, right now in this season, what's something that God's been speaking to you?
What's next? I mean, we retired for the second time. We retired after about 10 years of doing work at PK Lake.
Yeah.
We decided that, I was tired of Martha having to clean houses all the time. And I can mow yards forever, but we were just ready to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
were doing a lot more than that. We were doing property management. But I think we decided we're going to stop and see what is next. And so right this red hot moment, I'm building a house. But I have to try really hard, and this is hard for me. I have to try really hard not to make that an idol
Yeah.
or make that the most important thing in my life. So we pray a lot in the morning. And one of the things that I mostly pray for right now is help me keep my priorities straight.
Yeah.
God is first.
Yeah.
My family's second.
Yeah.
Church. Somewhere down the road, that house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares about the house,
Yeah.
Well, and
That's
just
the attitude I try to take because
Yeah.
it's not the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
But I think just as you said that you're building a house, I feel like you are building God's house.
Oh, okay.
And so I feel like it's such a metaphor of what you do every
Yes.
day with people. You're building His church, you're building the house. And while the perspective of building a physical house is a little different, I think there is an understanding spiritually of what it takes to build a house that God is teaching you in that, but you do it already for God.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think
Yeah.
that's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it that
Yeah.
way. But we're just kind of looking to see what is next for us. And I think sometimes God keeps us in a season of being still. And I think that's
for
okay.
sure.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with
Not
us.
at all.
If we're not achieving something, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's a hard habit to break.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
point.
I cannot sit still.
Yeah.
When I finish with this house, I'll probably go build another one or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could see it.
Yeah.
A neighborhood.
Martha and I, neighborhood, tiny houses. Martha and I, we don't sit still well.
No, you don't.
When Snowmageddon,
No, you don't.
no, you don't. When Snowmageddon happened, and we were driving back, we didn't have electricity at the lake, and we were driving. We had bought a house on Tennessee Street, and we were remodeling it. We were driving back and forth in the snow, in this much snow, every day. And we'd get in here, and our house was close to the hospital, so it had electricity.
Yeah. I'm
We'd
sure
spend
God
all
is
day-
like, what can I give them to do next? Those two.
I know.
Well, we welcome anything.
I know you do. He's got something good
I
coming.
mean, even the house. We're building a big house, and we're building it for the Lord. And
I know. Yeah.
we're gonna have a big loft, and it's a good view. And we're gonna have. I'm gonna build a huge table for small groups, and
Yes.
that's just what we want to do.
Yeah.
You're Priscilla and Aquila. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You welcome these people into your home. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I know. I
remember
love that. I just know anything that you guys do, you're doing it for the glory of the Lord, to bring people into your home, to have, to have a safe place that people can come. Like, that's just, that is your legacy, that everything that you do is for the furthering of the
It
kingdom.
makes us happy. That's
Yeah.
what makes us happy. And,
So good.
So many times, I think if you start feeling sad,
Yeah.
or if you start thinking about yourself too much, and usually if you're sad, it's because you're thinking about
Oh,
yourself.
that's so
That's
true.
good.
Yeah,
And-
that's good.
But I think you should go do something for somebody else.
Yes.
It will take your mind off of what you do. Now, sometimes I just go get real busy and I start doing physical work. But a lot of times, just sit down and write somebody a letter or call them or have lunch with them. And especially if it's somebody that is needing something. And it just kind of makes you think, oh, my problems are not that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, greatness isn't what you have, it's what you give. And I think that's your legacy, Mike. It's not what you have, it's what you give. And you give so much to everybody. We're just so thankful. I'm thankful for your leadership, your presence, your love in my life. I know that anyone who does know you, like Kaitlin said, just is blessed by you, loves you. And I'm excited for what God has next for you guys next.
Yes.
But rest up, because it's going to be good.
Rest up, is that what you said?
Be still for a minute. Dang.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Mike.
No, it's we're always going, and that's how I like life. I like to go. So
Oh,
this
thanks for
church is
joining us,
awesome.
Mike.
You guys are
Yeah.
awesome. We just love coming to High Ridge. It's just every week we're meeting new people.
Yeah.
It's just an awesome place to be, and so. And thank y'all for what you do. I watch all your podcasts. I just think
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah,
I don't
thank you,
listen. I
Mike.
watch because
That's
I want
right.
to see the faces. So.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed
Here we
it
are.
very much.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
Mike.
thank you so much for joining us, Mike. We're just so honored to know you, to love you. So that's it. We'll see you guys next week.